Hi, I'm Mitra Sorrells in the PhocusWire Studio, and I am joined today with Amit Saberwal, founder and CEO of RedDoorz, a Southeast Asian hospitality company. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, I understand you have right now about 5 brands, close to 3,000 properties. To tell me the countries again that you're in right now?
So, Indonesia is the largest, the
Okay.
Philippines, Vietnam, and Singapore.
Okay. Um, Talk to me a bit about how you have adapted your technology to the different brands. Is it, a unique integrations, or what are you doing there?
So, as we believe that our customers are actually our hotel partners, so we need a solution for all kind of budget hotels, say sub $30, $35, and bring them on board our technology solution. So the tech for all the brands is pretty much similar because we're trying to solve the same problem, right? It's like sometimes you feel like having a $20 meal, sometimes you feel like having a $35 meal. So the customer is also fairly similar for all the brands.
And is that technology that you're building in house, or just tell me a bit more about those systems?
Yeah, it's completely in-house. Our tech has always been behind the problems which we've discovered from our customers and from our property owner standpoint. So our technology starts from pricing the properties, then making sure they get distributed, they're sold, our loyalty program gets applied, payments gets done, the rooms get allocated for our customers, and then the whole payment cycle for owners also gets completed. So everything is done to the RedDoorz technology. And on the other side, from the internal side, identifying properties, bringing them on board, and then going through the whole CRM itself is done through our own tech.
Okay. What have been some of your challenges or issues there? I mean, what have you kind of been learning as you're developing that?
So I think the biggest challenge is that there's nothing off the shelf which works for us. So our use case is domestic traveler checks in at 6 p.m. for the same day. Uh, 250 hotels in Jakarta, all of them have to fill up from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And so no one can be left behind, right? So we have to price relative to the demand in our every cluster. Make sure that all our customers are being distributed to all our properties. And you'll be surprised that 80% of our consumers are come directly. They're not from OTAs. Only 20% of our business comes through OTAs.
I'm sure there's a lot of other hotel brands that wish they could say the same thing.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah, so talk to me a bit more about that distribution strategy then. How are you doing that? And I mean, are you aiming to even increase that direct?
So it was 75 pre-pandemic. It reached 80. So I think it starts with the kind of product which you're offering, right? If you have a domestic audience and the audience finds it value to have you and on their phones in terms of an app, then half the battle is won. And the other thing is that there's no discovery because there's a high density of properties in a particular city. So if I'm going to New York, I'm going to start thinking, hey, where should I stay? Where should I stay near Times Square? Maybe Booking.com can give me good recommendations. But because there are 250 hotels in Jakarta, I just open the RedDoorz app, RedDoorz near me or RedDoorz in my area, 10 hotels pop up. And we have an incredibly high repeat rate. So it's like this consumer is coming back, familiar, has the same app, and therefore keeps booking.
Yeah, and so you just referenced there, you have a single RedDoorz app then that powers all of the brands. Is
That's
that right?
correct.
Okay, and you feel like that's worked effectively for you.
It's working. It's work in progress.
Yeah.
Because as the other brands expand, and RedDoorz currently is the hero brand, but when we have other heroes, then we got to figure out like how do we differentiate the app from the brand.
So let's talk a bit about now looking ahead. What are some of your priorities, let's say, for the next year, the next 5 years?
I think supply acquisition of good supply, which adds to our portfolio and our customers' experiences, remains as a number one priority for us. Also, getting into Thailand, which is a new market, and cracking that market is also a big priority for us.
Talk a bit more about acquiring supply. What are you finding is the most effective way to go about that?
Uh, It is a franchising business. We find that people are very happy to give their hotels for franchise when they can meet face to face. So that's the number one way which we are actually are getting our supply. But what we are doing is we are enabling our salespeople through technology so that they have a very targeted approach when they're going to get that supply. We also think that there are two rhythms for our business. One is a more fast-moving supply acquisition where there's lesser amount of work to be done at the property, so you have a lot more properties coming in. And then there are brands which are slightly more standardized, and there's heavy renovation work which has to happen, and that's slightly slower. So it works on two different rhythms.
And do you have any plans to add any additional brands?
Not currently. I think we have brands which cover like different shades of gray for the budget of hotel accommodation for now. I think we're going to just keep it there.
Okay. Let's talk a bit more related to technology. Any emerging technologies that are kind of on your radar or that really interest you? There has been discussion here about self-sovereign identity built on the blockchain. We hear a lot about the use cases for AI and machine learning. Anything that you're kind of exploring for the future?
Actually, all of them. I think what has happened during the pandemic is that the expectations of customers have changed. No longer do they want to meet anybody. They just want everything to happen to the app itself. So make sure that they can book, they can check in, they can pay, they can open their rooms, everything to the app. And I think, we are actually working quite hard in making sure that at every touch point, we make that experience even better for our customers.
As you think back over the evolution of RedDoorz and what you have built, I'm curious, what do you credit the success as to where you are now? A couple of things that you think have really been key, and then is there anything as you look back that in hindsight you wished you had handled differently?
So I think the key to success is a hyper-local approach, not trying to build the company from a boardroom. It's being built by one hotel at a time because that's the nature of our business. Cannot be built out of a boardroom. So I think that is key. I think we were also very resilient when things went bad or wrong, or the pandemic, or all these challenges. I think from a things we could have done better.
Right.
A lot of stuff which we're doing now, at the strengthening the scaffolding or the foundations of the business, which we're doing right now during the pandemic. I wish we would have done it earlier. Because earlier we were very consumer focused, growth focused. Now we have built the systems also to sustain that profitable growth.
Sometimes those lessons come hard, But
Yeah.
So again, thinking ahead, what is on your radar as far as IPO possibly or exit? I mean, which one and why?
Now, definitely, our ambition is to IPO.
Okay.
I think we've been kind of set behind by 2 years due to the pandemic. I think we emerged very strong out of the pandemic. And I would imagine an American IPO would be a good outcome. I think somewhere a few years down the line.
And is the long-term vision to remain focused on Southeast Asia?
Yes, because the opportunity is huge. It's a region of immense potential. And you should see the valuations and some of the traction of the e-commerce companies and some of the fintech players, etc., which got accelerated during the pandemic. Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal.
And I suppose, as borders continue to reopen and international travel resumes, you've already been able to do fairly well with your local business, but the international visitors will start coming back then.
It opened new opportunities for us in markets like Bali and markets like Thailand, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Well, Amit, thank you so much for joining us here at the PhocusWire Studio. I hope you have a safe trip back as you head back home.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.